Hi everyone, Dead Battery here, and thank you for joining me on my channel. So today's video is going to be on officially the newest game system that I have owned and or found out in the wild. Beginning of this year, we decided to do one of our normal loops around the island and hit up some of the stores that I usually look for broken items in the junk section. And one of them, I found a broken PlayStation 5. It was in the junk section, as you can see, for 33,000 yen, which roughly comes out to about $250 depending on the exchange rate. When I talked to somebody that works there, they said that it turns on, but then it turns back off again. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to get it, and I didn't actually know too much about it. My husband thought it would be a good idea to get it because once again, it was a really good price, and even if it wasn't something that could be fixable now, maybe sometime in the future, I could get skills enough to fix it. So I brought it home and it turned on. So I thought, there's nothing wrong with it, but I still wanted to take apart and show you what it looked like on the inside. Unfortunately, some other things happened with the PlayStation 5. I'm not going to go over right now. I want to get through the video and then I will explain what happened because it's interesting and I'm hoping that somebody out there can help me with it. So let's take apart this PS5, see how the inner workings are, and see if I have a working PS5 or if I have to wait a little bit longer. So to take it apart, you have to lift up and pull the panels off. I had a little difficulty getting it. I actually had to turn it like towards my body and kind of do like a lift pull, but be careful because it worked, but I almost feel like I dropped it. The Sony symbol on it is pretty dirty. This first vent area just pops off and you need to take this off first so you can get to the screws that are holding the fan in place. PS5s come with this side area and it's supposed to take an M2 hard drive. This area here is where the fan is plugged in. It's just a little plastic piece and it's sticky, and just peel it off. The fan has 4 screws, but each of the screws are different and different sizes, so make sure you pay attention and mark where the short screw and the long screws go. After taking the fan out, I had a look and it seems pretty clean. There's a little bit of dust, nothing that would make me think it's not working because it's dirty. Next, this outside part has 11 screws. 2 of them are longer and 1 of them is silver. So make sure you know where they go. Also, there's always the secret screw underneath a sticker which voids your warranty. This also has a little bit of dust on it, but nothing that makes me worry. To get the disk drive out, you have to push down on the metal piece in the back there and then pull, and the disk drive does lift off. Same thing with this side. You push down on this little metal piece to pull the ribbon out. Next, you want to remove all of these little black and white cables. Just be careful that you don't rip anything. They should pop off fairly easy. If you're worried about where they go, on the board here, it does state if it's a black or a white. The next step is definitely a little tedious, so know that. There are, I believe, 45 screws that run around the top of this. There are a couple spots that look a little differently that do not take screws. It kind of looks like it has markings on the side of it. To keep track, I just put an X near the areas that don't get screws in them. I also do this little intricate design on my magnetic board to keep track of where the screws go. However, after further evaluation of the screws, I did realize that all of them are the same except for that one screw that is black and it's slightly longer. So as long as you know where that one screw goes, the rest of them you don't really have to make a map, just make sure you mark where they don't go. I did have a little difficulty getting this metal frame off. I don't know if it's because it was the first time it's being taken apart. I actually thought I had a couple screws still left in and I didn't. This system has putty instead of paste or pads. It looks very odd to me, but I looked up photos and from what I can tell, this is exactly what the rest of the putty looks like in other people's systems. The last step is to take these two screws off the back. This holds the rest of the motherboard in place. This side panel comes off as well. This is where your lights and your power button is. There are two more screws on the board before you go around and take the pressure screws off. I was extremely nervous about this because it's liquid metal. I haven't dealt with liquid metal before. I did research it beforehand. I made sure I knew what I was doing, but I was really scared because if any of that flies off and hits the board, it can short it. I know from a couple of videos I've watched, including a couple by Tronics Fix, that when the system is upright, it can make the liquid metal settle to the bottom. So I bought the correct stuff and I'm just kind of moving it around like he did to make sure that it's all where it's supposed to be. It seems like there is a lot of liquid metal. Almost seems like an excessive amount, but I don't know. I'm going to start putting it back together. Just be really careful when you're putting it back together to make sure that you don't get the liquid metal anywhere. Putting it back together is fairly easy. It just can get a little tedious. Then you have your pressure bar. Then I put it back into the case and got the two screws on the back. Don't forget to put your side panel in that has your lights, your power, and your eject button because they need to go on before you put the screws in. The most complicated part about putting this back together is getting the rest of these screws on. So that was the whole inner workings of the PlayStation 5. I thought it was pretty cool. The liquid metal really terrified me, but I did bring it downstairs and play it, and it worked. No problems whatsoever. Then the next day, it didn't work. It didn't turn on. It just beeped at me. And it didn't like beep a couple times. It beeped when I hit the button because I hit the button and no lights, no nothing, no fan. So I brought it upstairs and I took it apart and I watched some videos from this gentleman called The Coder. It's spelled with a 3 as the E. Absolutely love it. That was a great choice for name. And I watched his videos with the multimeter and I followed my lines and I wasn't getting a 3.3. So I put it under the microscope and it looked like there was a little dust under there. So I cleaned it off and then it worked. I don't know why it worked, but it worked. So I brought it downstairs. I played some more on it, for a couple hours, and the next day, same thing. It would not turn on. It just did that beep and nothing. I watched a couple more of the coder's videos, and he gets very in depth, and he's got sheets on if this is happening, it's this, and if this is happening, it's this. And it's great, except I don't understand any of it. Since that is the case, I actually emailed the gentleman, and I'm hoping that he responds back. I told him what's going on. I think this is a perfect PlayStation for a collab. Maybe we can work together to figure out what is wrong with this PlayStation. If you guys have any suggestions to help me understand this, please let me know, because I am still learning, and I know there's a lot of you out there that know this kind of stuff. So I checked this area, which is where the battery comes in. It's 12 volt. And I checked this area, which is supposed to be 5 volts. And this area, that is my 3.3 that I had issue with, but I'm getting the correct reading. And I also checked the normal fault area, and I was getting the reading. Past that, I have no clue, because a lot of videos stop there because that is the fault. So at the moment, I'm going to put the PlayStation 5 on the back burner until I get some help or understand this better, because I really want to keep playing Wild Hearts. It looks like a really good game. Well, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.